Good evening, Les.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Very well. You?
Good, thank you. We were hoping to discuss a little bit tonight about belief systems, well, in general, and I've got a few particular things I wanted to point out that
Where would you care to begin?
well, it seems that most people tend to take it directly to religion, and that they think that that's what you're speaking about, and not really understanding the depth of how our belief systems structure everything in our existence. And so if we could start there.
Well, first you must remember that beliefs are simply your thoughts. Give me one moment.
Absolutely.
Again, your belief systems change every minute of every day. Really, it is in the situation that you are in that creates a new belief structure. You are correct when you say that most everyone takes it to a religious place when they are confronted with their belief system. We would have to say that the majority of those out there do not understand what their belief system really consists of. It controls and influences you, inspires you in many different ways every second of every day of your reality. Everything that you see is based upon your belief systems. Everything that you think is based upon your belief systems. Therefore, as you grow, you will see that belief system begin to change as you begin to open, become more aware and awake. If you think back, the majority of people who will seek this information and watch this broadcast now will think back to their childhood and what their belief system at that time was compared to what the belief system is now. You yourself had a revelation regarding how your past is different. All of these things are based within your beliefs. If you believe you are going to experience hell, you are going to experience a hell. If you believe that you are a horrible person, you will be perceived as a horrible person. All of those things are connected within your belief system, and it is the most powerful thing you possess, and yet you do not pay much attention to it.
Which brings me to the next thing. Discussing each person being their unique self and expressing themselves as they feel they are brings us to the question of how can anybody do that when they don't know themselves, and how they run into so much judgment of themselves in such a judgmental way as they self-explore that it shuts down that exploration.
Self-exploration can be tricky. There is a fine line between self-exploration and judgment of thyself. Those of you in the physical experience tend to judge yourselves long before you truly explore yourselves. The saying that you have been repeating lately, know thyself, to thine own self be true, those are all very real and very true statements, and truer than most realize. You cannot know someone else. You cannot love freely someone else if you do not know yourself, and if you do not love yourself. That has been our message from day one. It is important that you think about what you truly believe. If you are sitting and watching this, your belief system is expanding as you begin to watch it. From the moment you sit down and search for those answers, your belief system begins to change yet again. You are manifesting it into something that you feel good about, but yet you still put your limits there. If you believe that anything is possible yet, there is only so far you can take that. You have limited yourself yet again. It is within those belief systems that you must self-examine. You must really think about what is true to you. What you say out here, what you say in words to others, what you exude out, is that you know your belief system, you know where you stand. But in reality, when you stop and look at it, it is probably far different than you perceive it to be. You believe yourself to be more open-minded than you truly are, as is most. It is that simple. But it all is based out of your belief systems. It is the subject that we will spend many hours on.
Yeah, it seems we even have belief systems that define our belief systems.
Oh, most certainly. And your first place on that journey is judgment. You sit upon a throne in your mind and throw out sentences to yourself, punishments for yourself, for your sins. You judge every aspect of every choice you've ever made, and that is silly. Those choices were perfect. They brought you to where you are today. Without any of those choices, you would not be here. You would not be seeking. That is the importance of your connection and your belief system.
Yeah, it seems like until that stopping of the judgment, like I say, people just shut themselves down. They start to self-investigate, to look at their true self, and as soon as they get to something that is something they perceive as being so horrible that they've done, or something that is whatever has kept them from dealing with it, they will just shut it down and fall to that go-to place that they use to justify out.
You in the physical, the majority of you in the physical, will punish yourselves much worse than anyone else ever could for something that is human, that you are here to experience. All of this is an experience for you. Those things that you punish yourself for, when you look at the scope of things, you would laugh at the silliness of it. That is why you came forward in the physical, to create, to experience, to understand those thoughts that you hide, to understand those thoughts of others, to see why the world ticks the way it does. It is curiosity, it is knowledge you seek. So, after you have built this incredibly impenetrable belief system of yours, you tend to try to live by its ridiculous standards. So as you move along in your life, you bend it to fit what fits you at the time. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what the belief system is for. But you must look deep inside that belief system to understand where you are going with it. Does this make sense to you?
It does. It does. We're speaking with Jill, shout out to Jill, recently about Shaman Beliefs, just somewhat. I can tell it's going to be something very, very interesting, and this is taking belief systems, I guess, to an extreme for a lot of people who are not familiar with it. They are very
deep-rooted rituals and beliefs in that path, if you so choose it. It is fascinating. It can be a wonderful, joyous experience. It can also be somewhat scary for you in the physical at times. But forward with your question.
When we hear about an experience like I was told about the being speared through the heart, she was telling me that her guide speared her through the heart and did not want her to go into a particular place, and that she was going to stay right there, and she did. Can you just tell me just a little bit? I'm personally curious a little bit about that.
There are many deep-rooted. You must remember that shamanism, it is tied with all those things that you, in the physical, tend to put negative spins on, but it is not negative at all. Shamanism, the witch doctor, the holy man of a tribe, these people have deep-rooted beliefs and rituals. It has been around longer than your religions. When man could not communicate to one another, they still had a spiritual leader. They still had a witch doctor or a shaman that they looked to for advice. For the shamans speak with the gods and then relay that to their people. So you're talking ingrained within those rituals and within those beliefs. There are many things that you may experience that over the years have been incorporated into the beliefs of the shamans. Many of the things are ritualistic in the sense of they seem so violent in your eyes. It is not so. These are lessons in which they have learned from spirit world. Lessons that they portrayed and perceived to be as she experiences them, rather than go through the, as most could not survive anyway, rather than go through the experience themselves now, it is experienced on that other side for her. It is very real, it feels the same, but there is much learning in that, and there is much knowledge. It opens you even further into your path of shamanism. It is a fascinating path to take and experience.
It sounds as though it is.
You must be strong of will in order to make it through, as you say, but all those who take on the challenge are ready for it.
She sounds as though she's up for it.
Yes, very much.
I had discussed with the same person in an email, actually. I had mentioned to her that all of our emotions or emotional responses are based out of either fear-based, or love. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that and the expansion of just things that, so many things I don't think we realize would be a fear-based thing. You know, how that relates back. Yeah, how that relates back to fear.
So many of those things that it is tied to your experiences you have had throughout your life that trigger you in a sense, but there is a commonality amongst all of them. Sadness, loneliness. We have had many people tell us that is not fear-based. Oh, it is so fear-based. Believe me, we are right. It comes down to when you are sad or lonely, it basically boils down to a fear of being alone, a fear of not being loved. You have in that one both emotions, that fear of not being loved. Now, how silly does that really sound to you? It's quite silly. You are always loved. There is always spirit. There is always physical that loves you. You may not know it. You may sit in a room by yourself feeling like nobody cares, but there are many of those that care about you. So, it all comes down to a fear of not knowing and not understanding yourself. Those negative, what you would call negative emotions I'm speaking of, those come down to, it is that fear of getting to know yourself is what it really comes down to. You have many things that you experience throughout your life until you are what you consider an adult and responsible for yourself. You begin to look at yourself in ways. When you have those reactions, when you feel sadness, when you feel loneliness, the deeper you go, the more you will find that those things are simply reflections of yourself that you are fearing, getting to know the true you. That is a very scary thing. We